let me show you one of the awesome LEGO creations on display at Relics: A New World Rises. I'll walk you through some of the awesome storytelling, show you some clever part uses, as well as some fantastic movement and motion, and we'll also take full advantage of the fact that this awesome build is a masterclass in how to build some snowy rock work. We'll go into detail about some of the parts and techniques that are used to create that snowy mountain look, and hopefully inspire you when you're making your own unique creations. Yes, this is indeed a LEGO creation built inside of a fridge. Why? Well, the show this creation is a part of, Relics: A New World Rises, is an exhibit that combines real-world objects and brick-built LEGO models. The idea is that the show is set in the future, humans are gone, and minifigures have turned the forgotten objects that have been left behind into their own civilizations. The story here is that this is the Cryo Life Resort and Wellness Center. Here they provide cryonic freezing services to many minifigures that are looking to bunker down from the extreme weather conditions of Earth that have been left behind by the humans who were previously there. But of course, just outside the Cryo Life Resort, there's a bunch of snow and the minifigures enjoy their time there, relaxing in the hot springs, skiing, and just having fun. So that's the story. Let's take a closer look at the cool details inside. We have some awesome movement on this MOC. We can see these fans that spin. It's a subtle but really fun detail. And then up top we have these elevators that take the guests up to the lab that's just on the top of the fridge. I love the little delay on these elevators, moving up, stopping, waiting, then moving back down. It feels so realistic and lifelike. But yeah, like I said, these elevators lead up to the labs. All the greebles and other details in here are a wonderful touch. The repeated grill slopes up here, and then these traditional grill tiles that are scattered all throughout this build, they really help sell that laboratory vibe. The lighting in here is also very immersive. It's cold and clean and exactly what you would expect in a place like this. And lighting just does so much to help improve a MOC. I mean, we can see a lot of nice examples of some cool lighting effects all throughout this creation, but some of the best examples of it are on these freezing pods that line the door of the fridge. The blue lights from below really sell that frozen in stasis effect. And then these green and red lights up top, that's another fun addition. I'm sure already you've noticed a bunch of the references inside these pods. I'm not going to ruin the fun and tell you what each one is, but there are a ton of references in here. It's also cool how the butter and cheese drawer on the fridge has been turned into a kind of covered hallway. It's nice to see the build really taking advantage of the space that it's in. Alright, but let's talk about the snow techniques that are used here. So what parts are they used to really effectively pull off this great snowy mountain? Well, lots of large and small wedges are used here to cover up larger pieces of ground. The curve of these pieces just perfectly showcases the look of snow, and sometimes just like plain plates just doesn't make the cut. But wedge pieces like this, the texture of them just perfectly mimics snow. It's just such a good piece to use. We also have many different types of slopes that are used. Things like these 2x1x3 slopes, and even these 2x2x2 slopes. But we've also got cheese slopes and other smaller sized slopes too. A good splattering of all different types of slopes is just super helpful. So if you've got a bunch of those lying around, or you don't, you need to order some. Get as many as you can in different sizes and things like that, because they get the job done. Smaller slopes can help just build up little piles or work details into the mountain, but I think they're best used for filling in gaps and things like that. So we have typical slopes, but we also have a lot of these curved slopes that are used. We've got smaller ones, we've got some larger ones too. Now they're also good for filling in gaps, but they're also nicely used to round off areas of dense snow. We can see that there's these perfect little piles of snow in the corners up in the lab here. I think this is a great way of still, setting the scene and letting you know this is a snowy place, but just because it's just piled off in the corners or at the front there, it reminds you that it's still connected to the outside world, but because it's inside, there's a lot less snow. So a little subtle thing, but I think it works well. Now, of course, we've got lots of snow that's fallen and is resting on parts of the building. Now, these use some of these vertical tooth pieces in a really great way to showcase this. It really does look like a little tiny bit of buildup of snow and maybe even a little tiny icicle or something that's hanging off of the edge. And on the subject of icicles, we've got a bunch of them all over the place. Some of them are like on top of the building here. The specific piece that's being used is this large tooth part that Bricklink calls barb/claw/horn/tooth. So even Bricklink can't figure out the name for that piece, but that's what it is. Then up top, back in the lab, we can see a bunch of these different tooth pieces that look exactly like icicles. Such a fun part use, and it just visually matches up with these other tooth pieces that I was talking about before. So it's nice to have a bit of consistency with all these different pieces, and all of them perfectly pull off icicles. It looks great. And now when we look at the mountain, we can see a few hints of light aqua bricks that are packed into the mountainside. This is a brilliant way of adding a little bit of extra contrast. LEGO only really makes one shade of white, not including white that gets yellowed after being in the sun for too long. Doesn't really count. So adding in this nice pop of color makes it look a lot less dull and monotonous. So light aqua or any of the other kind of really light shades of blue might also be a good inclusion for any of your snowy MOCs. So that's a look at the different pieces and a couple different insights that could help you with building snowy mountain MOCs. But one other detail that's not exactly related, but still kind of adjacent to it, we can see this Duplo snowflake piece that's up the top here, kind of acting like some sort of chandelier or detailing on the building. Now, this Duplo snowflake only comes in one set. This is from the Duplo Frozen Castle. It's a strange but pretty cool part, and it works really nicely here. So pay attention to your Duplo sets. Sometimes they got really cool pieces in them. Now, there's a lot of great storytelling all throughout this MOC, and if you want to see it all in person, you can. Relics: A New World Rises is on display right now at the South Australia Museum in Adelaide, Australia. It's on until the 23rd of July 2023, and then it'll be on display in Melbourne from September 1st. So if you're there, be sure to check it out. There'll be links in the description below, so you can buy your tickets and get all the information you need just there. The show is put together by the team at Relics Exhibitions, which is an awesome team that I am very lucky to be a part of. So if you can make it down there, I promise that you're going to have a very good time. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.